This week in the parish of Bourses and market structure, in a big week for digital settlement, Taurus Ghost rapidly gave way to NYSE Tokenization. Although in D.C. there's a form of legislative Crypto Stasis, there's Great Change Afoot in Egypt. My name is Patrick L. Young. Welcome to the Bourse Business Weekly Digest. It's the Exchange Invest Weekly Podcast, episode 329. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very brief reduction of highlights amongst the key headlines from the week in market structure. All the analysis of the many events and happenings from the past 7 days can be found in Exchange Invest's daily subscriber newsletter, the unique guide to the Bourse business sent daily to your inbox. More details at exchangeinvest.com. Over in BitCarnage, it was a legendary week. For the first time without criminal action or bankruptcy, we had the same headline in both BitCarnage and Exchange Invest for one day. Welcome to the stock market parallel universe as NYSE seeks to tokenize. With the US maxing out on regulatory confusion, masquerading as clear support of crypto et al., albeit incoherently beyond the ability of certain folks, often with names ending in rump, making a profit, the New York Stock Exchange is developing a tokenized securities platform. The big thing here is truly that in an effort to secure their futures, the prevailing preeminent exchanges now sense they may have to kill their own business model to thrive in the future. And that also comes with a side order of it could kill the DTCC monopoly too. There are so many ramifications here, it's fascinating, but at the same time a sensible move by NYSE to preserve its brand and world leader position. If you enjoyed this excerpt, you may be interested to know you can read BitCarnage every day in Exchange Invest. Alternatively, if you want to follow BitCarnage, the daily update on happenings in the world of crypto and digital assets, you can find BitCarnage as a standalone on Substack. Meanwhile, in the world of exchanges, the white heat of competition may impact the business of disintermediation in ways nobody has truly priced in, as ICE looks to tokenize NYSE, which will cause vast upheavals to both the old and the new thing. Could the ghost of Taurus, the LSE's infamous settlement fiasco, finally be laid to rest with a new digital system from the one proven competent C-suiter at LSEG? Then again, LSE's move was instantly overshadowed by the NYSE tokenization push that it changes the face of the industry. But if you're reading the mainstream media, you missed the nuances. That's why Exchange Invest is the exchange of information without which you are behind the trends in market structures. Subscribe today. You get a free 7-day trial at exchangeinvest.com. Egypt being prepped to become a for-profit exchange with an IPO proposed in due course is exciting news for the Cairo Bourse, as also is news that it has received a futures license in order to expand their franchise. Over in Korea, the Korean exchange is extending trading hours to 12 hours and pursuing a 24-hour market. The question here is how much KRX is trying to genuinely promote a 24-hour Korean market, or is it a case of, if Blue Ocean can bring the US market to our key clients, why don't we reciprocate? Over in India, colo dark fiber matters. India may finally have put an end to the holy hoax and all that colo fiasco. In the back mirror for NSE India, there's now an agreement up front in principle with SEBI, and therefore the IPO of NSE India is inching closer. And in a remarkably compact week, there was only one hint of deal news of any great significance, and Nasdaq's private market closing a Series C, marking a 4x valuation step up since 2024. And also there was a little bit of administration, with over 90% of the stock being held by the Philippine Stock Exchange. The move is afoot to get rid of the holding company of the Philippine dealing system bond market that it has been acquiring over the course of the last year. Welcome to a Nasdaq-sponsored segment. Investor appetite for Asia is rising, but post-trade friction is holding markets back. In the new Nasdaq and Value Exchange study, 25% of participants plan to grow exposure, yet 46% face artificial trading limits. The biggest pain point? Corporate actions. 60% report high error rates and 39% of platforms are still legacy. The fix is clear. Harmonize rules, standardize workflows, modernize technology in order to unlock efficiencies in settlement and corporate actions. For exchange leaders ready to scale, download Creating Asia's post-trade operating model of tomorrow at bit.ly, that's bit.ly/APAC-post-trade. That's APAC-post-trade, all one word, at bit.ly. And if you fancy some financial insights with moving pictures, don't forget to check out our live stream, Tuesdays 5 o'clock London time, midday New York time. It's the IPO Video Live Show. Catch the back episodes on LinkedIn and YouTube via IPO-VID. Now online, IPO-VID number 198, Nasdaq's blueprint for Europe with their Supreme Commander of Allied Forces based in Stockholm, right across the region of Europe, Roland Chai. An excellent discussion that was indeed, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a new IPO-VID coming next week, IPO-VID 199, Making Markets in Play with Troy Kane. Thanks for listening to Exchange Invest Weekly. We welcome your feedback. You can contact me directly, patrick@derivativesvision.com, with any comments. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this show, we would welcome you giving us a thumbs up. Or if you have time, a positive review will always be welcome, wherever you find this podcast. This week, our book of the week isn't so much financial-oriented, but it visits some fascinating commercial hubs. Beyond the Blue Horizon by Alexander Frater reveals and relives the romance and breathtaking element of the legendary Imperial Airways Eastbound Empire service, the world's longest and most adventurous scheduled air route at the time, as the author revisits the route during the jet age. And don't forget, if you want all the news in the Bourse business sent daily to your inbox, subscribe to Exchange Invest via exchangeinvest.com. Only $499 per annum to join the exchange of information. Our next book of the week will be unveiled on Saturday in the EI Weekend Edition, our macro read with fascinating insights all round, and that is completely free of charge. You can also sign up at exchangeinvest.com. Over in product news this week, Singapore Exchanges is proposing bond futures for India and Southeast Asia, leading me to wonder how long before Indian authorities decide that bond futures are proprietary, like the SEBI futures fiasco we had previously over the Nifty 50. CME Group, meanwhile, are launching 100-ounce silver futures to meet record retail demand. Overwhelming retail demand from the marketplace, which best embodies retail trading nowadays, the once soundly institutional CME. Interactive brokers, quite a development there. They're now going to let clients fund their accounts with US dollar stablecoins. Over in technology news, LSEG is collaborating with Amazon Web Services, AWS, to support real-time data infrastructure. That's further to a series of developments with AWS over recent years, and of course also LSEG and Microsoft launching a 10-year strategic partnership for next-generation data and analytics and cloud infrastructure, which took place only a couple of years earlier, where Microsoft made a significant equity investment in LSEG through the acquisition of shares. Regulation news this week, one speech you should be reading, remarks at the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange given by none other than the US Chairman of the SEC, Paul Atkins. Career paths, great news from an IPO-VID alumni. He was on episode number 43, Botswana Rising. Tapelo Shole, having been the Rwandan regulatory chief in recent times, is moving on to become the new CEO of Afrinex. Finally, a sad piece of news in the career path area. David Webb, an advocate for Hong Kong's economic freedom and, at all points in time, a better stock market. David Webb, who founded Website, a free online site that offered stock market news and data while advocating for transparency and better corporate and economic governance. A living legend in Hong Kong markets is sadly no more. David Webb has passed away after a lengthy illness. Congratulations to Russell McGranahan. He's been named the SEC's General Counsel, and farewell to Daniel Schmucki, the CFO of SIX, who's stepping down from the SIX Executive Board and will oversee the transition to his successor. Over in Big World, well, there's obviously been so many topics going on as it's been a busy start to the year, but the thesis is the Maduro extraction has made the world a safer place for now, as challenging the US is a clear death wish wrapped in a suicide note without the tortured elegance of seppuku ritual. However, if Cuba is liberated, and I believe that it could be the year this happens, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to remake the entire Caribbean region, putting big pressure on existing mega tourist nations. Arguably the most exotic and heavily branded mainstream Caribbean brand, Cuba is going to be the first choice for visitors for several years once it reaches economic liberty. While I believe a free Cuba will eventually raise the whole regional economy, short term there's likely to be a major substitution effect where tourists will head for the more exotic Havana and the rest of the remarkably large Cuban landmass. That could leave a lot of smaller islands losing cream off the top of what has generally been a hugely profitable tourist return since COVID ended. And on that mysterious and magnificent note, thank you for listening to this EI Weekly Podcast number 329. Join us daily via exchangeinvest.com, or if you have a new marketplace you'd like build, get in touch. We build exchanges. My name is Patrick L. Young, and I wish you a great week in life and markets. This show relates to the business of Bourses. It is not to be construed as investment advice, nor are we making any investment recommendations. Please consult an investment advisor before you make any investments, and for goodness sake, do your due diligence and do not make investments without complying with the regulations in your home state. Exchange Invest cannot be held responsible for any investment decisions made as a result of our program, which is for entertainment purposes only. The material herein is copyright Patrick L. Young at the date of publication, while our music and sound effects are sourced from copyright-free sources. Thanks for listening to Exchange Invest Weekly, the exchange of information.